Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. And the Kolkata Knight Riders have secured a brilliant win against the Royal Challengers Bangalore by 81 runs. They were 89 for 5 in the 12th over when Shardul Thakur walked out to bat. And to go from there to 204 for 7, it really was a monumentous effort from Shardul Thakur, who was ably assisted by Rinku Singh with his 46. And even though the batting conditions were good, I thought the way that KKR can look to win the most games they can this season is by getting the runs on the board first up and looking for their bowling attack to defend that score. And we saw that materialize in this game, where even though the batting conditions were good, I thought 204 would be a tough chase for RCB. And I thought if they removed Faf du Plessis early, then KKR would certainly have a stronger grip on the game, and in the end we saw that materialize in quite some way. Regarding the 11s of both teams, both were unchanged going into this game from their previous games. We saw RCB beat the Mumbai Indians fairly easily in their first game, and KKR lost out to the Punjab Kings, now Levi Douglas Lewis, and Faf du Plessis won the toss and chose to field first. Now, on the theme of my previous video, I disagreed with the score from Faf du Plessis. I thought he got the toss wrong even in the first game, where yes, they beat the Mumbai Indians fairly easily, but had Mumbai got 190% in the first innings and Jofra Archer opened the bowling in the second innings and removed Faf du Plessis after hitting hard lengths of pace, then you'd think that Mumbai may have had a better chance in that second game than they did. I thought that the deficiencies in the MI side as well as some tactical mistakes meant that it was very easy for RCB, even though Faf du Plessis made the wrong call at the toss. And in this game, chasing 204 or 205 against a KKR attack is a completely different thing than chasing 170 odd against not a very good MI attack. So I think that it just shows that you can never take these toss decisions for granted. They had KKR 89 for 5 in 12 overs or so, and they relinquished that advantage. So they had two chances to really make sure that they could win or set them on their way to win this game, and they relinquished both of them. So in that case, after, like I said, if you don't take the right course at those particular moments, then things can drift away from you. And KKR didn't get off to a good start, and they were okay for the first two overs, and they were 47 for 3 in their power play. And in the first 89 runs, I thought Ramanullah Gurbar's innings at 57 meant that they even got to that stage. Yes, he didn't go as quickly as he usually does. He went at about 8 and over before being dismissed, which meant the strike rate dropped just under that. But based on how the others went, I thought 57 was a good innings from him. I talked about the fact that the consistency is improving off late. At first, he kind of seemed to be a player who, and even at times now, where he just hits a few boundaries and gets out. And I think off late the consistency has been improving. And if they do play him in the side, like I said, I would have played Jagadisan instead of him and played David Vieser at 6 so Russell doesn't have to bowl. But if they are going to play Ramanullah Gurbaz in the side and Jason Roy has been signed as a replacement for Shakib Al Hasan as well, then I think you have to continue that improved consistency throughout this competition. And 89 for 5, the Kolkata Knight Riders were after 11.3 overs, I think. And yes, Andre Russell's 100th game, I think 100th innings in the IPL. And we've seen what he's done in T20 cricket and in this competition. Unfortunately, a bit of an anticlimactic dismissal. I thought it was kind of catching practice to the fielder. I don't know why he took that option at the start when you'd already lost wickets. And I didn't get that at all. And especially with the batting to come, because yes, you've got Shardul Thakur and Rinku Singh, who are certainly very capable players with the bat. But after that point in time, you've got players that can add a quick 5-15 runs at the end, but you've not got players that can bat for 8 overs and when your side is 89 for 5 on good batting conditions. So I thought that wasn't a great shot at all from Andre Russell considering the circumstances. And from that point in time, I thought even throughout this innings, KKR had a better chance with the bat in this case than they would have done in other games, simply because if you're looking at what RCB have got during the middle overs, they haven't got that extra pace during the middle overs to trouble KKR. And we've seen that this side does have a short ball weakness. I thought that since Mohammad Siraj does bowl mostly up front, they didn't have that that kind of pace bowler who bowls in the 140 odds during the middle phase of the innings in this particular game. Meaning that Shardul Thakur and Rinku Singh, if they did get going a bit, RCB would struggle to stop them. We saw against the Mumbai Indians where the death bowling wasn't great in that game, and like I said in my previous video or my preview video, they benefited not having to play in the Chinnaswamy Stadium, for example, and in this case another batting friendly track. They benefited in not having to play in too much of these services over the past few years. And now that they are back and in that situation, having to play, including this game, 8 games at least on batting friendly surfaces, how will their bowling attack go at the death? And we saw that it hasn't gone very well so far. And 204 for 7 for KKR via a brilliant innings from Shardul Thakur. We've seen what he's done in national colours as well. And I think he should improve his white ball bowling. I've said this even before. Yes, he's got the Lord Shardul Thakur tag and someone who gets the impact wickets, but I feel like to really be that front runner in India selection in terms of white ball cricket, he's got to improve his white ball bowling to a stage where you can expect a lot from him even without that tag. I think he's been very good in test match cricket with the ball, but I feel like there is a bit of an erraticness in white ball cricket that as of now. Especially since we don't know the fitness of Deepak Chahar in the longer run, and we've seen how he bows in white ball cricket for India and how he goes with the bat. So replacing that kind of a person if he isn't fit, or that kind of a player if he isn't fit, Shardul Thakur is going to have to add that consistency with the ball to his white ball game. But with the bat, a brilliant innings today, or in this game rather. And a Rinku Singh who was going at about a run a ball at the start, wasn't getting the connection that he would like, but towards the end you saw what he did against Harshal Patel, and he got his strike rate up 46 of 33. And even though he wasn't going that great at the start of his innings, I thought it was important that he hung around, because like I said, you've got players in after him who can add a quick fire 10 runs maybe if you've already got to a decent total or just want to salvage some runs at the end, but they can't bat for a long time when you're 89 for 5 with 8 overs to go. So I thought it was important that he hung around. He did hang around luckily, and KKR got to 204 for 7, a very good total. And as far as the RCB bowlers, like I said, we saw how they went in the death in the previous game, and I think this will continue to be a problem for them. They've signed Wayne Parnell for the injured Reece Topley, which I think is a good replacement. And we saw David Willey today, 2 for 16 and 4 overs, the only positive for RCB overall in this innings. In an innings that looked like it was going quite smoothly for them from a bowling front in the first 12 overs. So apart from him, there was nothing to speak about for RCB in this innings, or really even in this game. And it was going to be a tough chase for them, and they got off to a great start, 42 runs in 4 overs, and the openers got going. And the first wicket fell, I think, very soon after that. Sunil Narine dismissing Virat Kohli for 21 of 18. And I thought that, look, we've seen a lot of the cases where even though I wasn't surprised that he did slow down, we've seen him go semi-aggressively, like I said, in the power play. But it seemed this innings that, and we've seen off late that no matter how much, even if he scores a few boundaries, very quickly he seems to drop into that under 8 and over strike rate at the start. And I thought Faf du Plessis was going to have to be the one that is the main aggressor, and he was. But I thought they got Virat Kohli out, yes, and the moment Faf du Plessis was dismissed off the bowling of Varun Chakravarti, soon after that I thought, right, this is going to be the test for RCB. Since Rajat Patidar is not there for this competition, and they've replaced him with a bowler, I think, which is a peculiar choice, but they haven't got that number 3 player. And I thought they would have played Suyash Prabhudesai at number 3, and instead they didn't. Michael Brace-O'Brien at number 3 scored a 19 ball 18 and was dismissed. And I feel like if the openers don't go well, especially if Faf du Plessis doesn't go well, there's a lack of solidity in the side without Patidar as well. You've got players like Maxwell, if he does get going, then he can put on a show. Dinesh Karthik, I don't know why they're using as some number 7 that bats a few overs when, well, he's got good records in first class cricket. He's opened for India in test matches before, although you can't really kind of put that in relevance. Now, what I'm trying to say is he's a much better player than what you'd think he is. I mean, he can still bat for at least 10 overs or so. I think I've even mentioned this before. I think teams batting Dinesh Karthik at number 7 or thereabouts, depending on how many overs are left, is a ridiculous thing. I think he could do way better than that. And we saw Harshal Patel batting at 5 because of it. And the first 4 wickets, they all played the same shot. I mean, I didn't really understand what they were doing. You saw Virat Kohli where the ball turned a bit, and he tried to play it to square leg and completely missed the ball. And we saw Faf du Plessis, Maxwell and Harshal Patel as well, where they went on the back foot and tried to play through cover, and the ball hit middle and off stump. So I thought the first 4 dismissals were identical in a way, and they really weren't great dismissals. And Varun Chakravarti, I said before that I thought teams decoded him last year rather than really him bowling badly. We saw Rahul Tripathi in that shot that I've kept on mentioning, where he bowled a ball against KKR. I think the first ball or so, Rahul Tripathi hits a not bad delivery at all over cover for 6. So if you've got that kind of a thing happening to you, you're not bowling badly. And I feel like he was very unfairly dropped from the Indian side after a T20 World Cup competition where he was scapegoated for. So I'm very happy that he has returned, and he was never out of form. I backed him to do well this season. And against a side that really was terrible against spin in this game, I thought. You've got him, Sunil Narayan, 2 for 16 and 4. And a Shreyas Sharma who... he hasn't played a competitive game in terms of a professional competitive game, and 3 for 30 in 4 overs at the start, dismissing players like Dinesh Karthik. I thought it was a very good outing from him, and again, we don't really know how he will go in the next few games, but with what we've seen today, I think I'm very happy for him, of course. And yeah, we'll see if he can replicate this kind of a performance going forward. You've got the 2 spinners, like I said, and you've got him as well. And if they play David Wiese instead of Ramanullah Gurpras, back Jagadish at the top of the order to be that keeper batsman, then you could even play Vaibhav Arora as a sub instead of Andre Russell, so he doesn't have to bowl. It could be purely a batsman on the side. You've got, if Lockie Ferguson returns instead of Sim Towley, you've got David Wiese for 2 overs or so at the death, along with Lockie Ferguson. Shardul Thakur is a gutsy bowler that can bowl anywhere in the innings, and you've got Umesh Yadav and Vaibhav Arora to bowl, especially when the conditions offer some movement, like a Wankhede surface, for example. If you've got a lot of runs on the board, KKR will be a very hard side to stop. So, a brilliant win for KKR, great performances from especially certain players, and from RCB, like I said, I mean, someone's going to have to occupy that role at number 3. Because right now, if you dismiss Faf du Plessis, the rest don't seem to be able to occupy the crease for a long time. And I'm not discrediting the player that I'm going to mention here, but I thought the impact sub of the century in Anuj Rawat, and you're batting him at number 7 in a chase where you could have just batted Mahipal Lomro or Shreyas Prabhudesai earlier on, and you sent Harshal Patel at number 5. And you bat an opener at number 7, who I think he bats low down the order in first-class cricket. But in this case, he's opened for you the previous year, and you bat him at number 7. And of course, he gets out trying to swing, because at that stage, most people would try and swing. So I think that I didn't understand that tactical call at all, when I think Mahipal Lomro is a left-hander, so I don't get why they didn't send out someone that can bat in the middle order at that position, and why they sent Harshal Patel, like I said, at number 5, when you've got the batsman there. Dinesh Karthik can bat for 10 overs in a T20 game. I mean, I don't understand the rhetoric behind that at all. And so that is on this game. A poor loss for RCB, not panic buttons, of course, but I think that if you get Faf du Plessis out, like I thought even before, this side looks quite vulnerable in terms of who can bat time. And the next game starts in an hour or so, and that is the Lucknow Super Giants against the Sunrisers Hyderabad. And in my view, in terms of who's going to win, I think if LSG win the toss and they bat first, I think LSG should get the job done. We saw SRH in a day game the last time around in their home stadium. They really got thrashed against the Rajasthan Bros. And I feel, looking at their bowling attack, like I've said, if there's no movement up front and you've not got the wicket-taking spinners, you've got economical spinners, then if you're kind of against a confident batting side, they'll of course look to bat first against this SRH team. And look, there's no point me suggesting tactics to LSG because I know they're not gonna kind of do what I would suggest them. But I'm saying if you've Quinton de Kock is back now, I would open with him along with Carl Mays. I said that K. Rahul could be a match winner at 3. I hope they bat him at 3. And if you got Nicholas Perrin at 4, who, yes, I'd like him to bat in the top 3, but in this situation, you don't really have much of a choice. You've got a very good top 4, a fantastic top 4, and you've got able players in Deepak Hooda and Ayush Bardoni. So, what I think they should do is win the toss, bat first, and get, at least 193 that you got against the Delhi Capitals. That should be more than enough against SRH. If Mark Wood opens the bowling to Mayank Agarwal and Abhishek Sharma, and then you could bowl Ravi Bishnoi to the 3 middle-order overseas batsmen, and that should get the job done. Like I said, as dynamic of a batting lineup that SRH have got, if you keep on conceding 200 runs or close to that in most of the games, you aren't going to go to chase it down, whoever you are. So that's on that. Will LSG follow it? Will Rahul bat at 3? Probably not, and no, he wouldn't. But let's see how they go. And for SRH, I do feel that batting first is the better thing for them, because if you're just letting another batting side just go all guns blazing against a bowling attack that doesn't offer too much in terms of if there's not much swing there, then you're thinking, right, who's going to go well in this bowling attack? You've got Bhuvneshwar Kumar and T. Natarajan, and then you're kind of looking for answers. So I feel like that is on SRH's bowling, and I think both sides should look to bat first if they win the toss. So that's on this game. Let's see what happens. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Please share it with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?